The restaurant was filled with warm afternoon sunlight, soft piano music, and the quiet conversations of wealthy guests enjoying expensive lunches. At the corner table sat a man nobody dared disturb. His name was Lucian Vescari, a feared mafia boss whose influence stretched far beyond the city skyline. His bodyguards watched every entrance while executives and politicians respectfully kept their distance. To the world, Lucian was a ruthless empire builder whose name inspired fear rather than friendship. But hidden beneath his tailored suit was a silver ring he had worn every single day for more than 20 years, a ring that reminded him of the only woman he had ever truly loved before she disappeared without a trace. As a young waitress approached to refill his coffee, she suddenly stopped, stared at the ring on his hand, and softly said that her mother owned one exactly like it. The coffee pot nearly slipped from her trembling hands. Lucian's heart stopped. For the first time in decades, the most feared man in the city looked completely powerless. Before we continue this unforgettable story, please like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire. Your support helps us continue sharing emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. 22 years earlier, Lucian had not yet become the man newspapers called untouchable. He had grown up surrounded by violence and betrayal, inheriting responsibilities he never truly wanted. During those difficult years, only one person ever saw kindness inside him. Her name was Seraphine Arden, a talented music teacher whose laughter could silence every fear he carried. She believed people were not prisoners of their past, and she dreamed of leaving the city to build a peaceful life together. On a quiet spring afternoon beneath blooming cherry trees, they exchanged simple silver rings engraved with the same tiny compass symbol. They weren't expensive. They weren't famous. But to them, the rings represented a promise that no matter how lost life became, they would always find their way back to each other. Fate had other plans. Enemies discovered Lucian's relationship and used Seraphine as leverage. Before he could protect her, she disappeared. Every search ended in failure. Every clue faded into silence. Eventually Lucian believed she had died because of the dangerous world surrounding him. That single loss changed everything. The gentle young man disappeared. In his place rose one of the most powerful mafia leaders the country had ever known. He built an empire not because he loved power, but because he believed nobody would ever be able to take another person he loved again. Years passed. Money filled every account. Luxury surrounded every mansion. Yet every birthday, every Christmas, and every quiet afternoon reminded Lucian that success without love felt painfully empty. Meanwhile, across the city, 21-year-old Alina Rowan worked double shifts at a family restaurant to support her widowed mother. Their apartment was tiny but filled with warmth. Seraphine had never spoken much about Alina's father. She simply said he had been a good man trapped inside a dangerous life and that protecting her daughter mattered more than holding on to the past. Despite financial hardship, Seraphine raised Alina to believe kindness always outweighed bitterness. She taught piano lessons from home. She volunteered at community centers. She never allowed hatred to become part of their lives. The only mysterious object she never removed was a silver ring engraved with a tiny compass. As Alina served customers that sunny afternoon, she immediately noticed the identical ring on Lucian's hand. Without thinking, she quietly mentioned that her mother owned one exactly like it. Time seemed to freeze. Lucian looked into the young woman's eyes. Something felt strangely familiar. Her smile reminded him of someone he thought he'd lost forever. Even the way she tilted her head while speaking echoed memories buried beneath decades of pain. Instead of reacting emotionally, Lucian calmly asked about her mother. Alina explained that Seraphine lived only a few neighborhoods away after years of quietly teaching music. Lucian felt emotions he hadn't experienced in decades. Hope. Fear. Disbelief. He ordered his security team to remain outside. For the first time in years, he chose to travel without intimidation or weapons. That afternoon, he stood before a modest little house surrounded by colorful flowers carefully planted beside a weathered wooden fence. When the front door slowly opened, Seraphine stood there. The years had added gentle lines around her eyes. Her hair carried hints of silver. But her smile remained exactly as he remembered beneath the cherry blossoms long ago. Neither of them spoke immediately. Some reunions become too sacred for words. Tears quietly answered every unanswered question. Inside the cozy living room, hidden truths finally emerged. After disappearing years earlier, Seraphine had been secretly protected by people who feared Lucian's enemies would continue hunting anyone connected to him. Believing separation offered the only chance to keep both Lucian and their unborn child alive, she disappeared without revealing the pregnancy. She gave birth alone. She spent decades protecting their daughter from a world she prayed would never find them. Lucian listened silently. Every birthday he had missed. Every school performance. Every illness. Every achievement. He had unknowingly lost an entire lifetime with his daughter. No amount of money could ever return those years. When Alina learned the truth, her emotions became equally overwhelming. She had grown up wondering who her father truly was. Now she discovered he wasn't simply alive. He had spent decades searching for the family he believed had died. Yet one question remained. Could a feared mafia boss truly become the father she deserved? Lucian knew love required more than blood. It required change. Within weeks, he began making decisions nobody expected. He quietly transferred leadership responsibilities to trusted legal business partners while dismantling criminal operations that had once built his empire. Authorities were surprised by anonymous information exposing violent organizations responsible for countless crimes. Neighborhoods once controlled by fear slowly became safer. Businesses previously forced into silence regained independence. Lucian understood redemption could never erase his past. But perhaps it could protect someone else's future. Building a relationship with Alina proved slower than closing business deals. Trust cannot be purchased. It must be earned. They began with ordinary afternoons. Coffee together. Walks through parks. Helping Seraphine repair the old family home. Lucian discovered his daughter loved painting landscapes, reading history books, and volunteering with children. He attended every local art exhibition where her work appeared. Sometimes he simply stood quietly in the back, proud beyond words. One afternoon Alina visited the community center where children gathered after school. She watched her father patiently helping a frightened little boy repair a broken toy car. The child smiled. Lucian smiled back. For the first time, Alina realized she wasn't seeing the city's feared mafia boss. She was seeing the father life had stolen from both of them. Months later, reporters noticed dramatic changes throughout the city. Crime declined. Community programs expanded. Scholarships appeared under anonymous donations. Music schools received unexpected funding. Children from struggling families gained opportunities that had never existed before. Nobody knew Lucian secretly financed every project in honor of the years Seraphine spent raising their daughter with compassion instead of hatred. Eventually the truth reached newspapers. Instead of sensational headlines celebrating criminal power, journalists told a different story. A father finding his daughter. A family choosing forgiveness over revenge. A man discovering that the strongest empire is built not through fear, but through love. On a bright spring afternoon nearly 1 year after their reunion, Lucian returned with Seraphine and Alina to the same park where two young dreamers had exchanged matching silver rings decades earlier. The cherry blossoms danced gently through the warm breeze. Children laughed nearby. Life had come full circle. Lucian looked at the two women standing beside him and realized that everything he had once spent years chasing, power, wealth, influence, had never been capable of filling the emptiness inside his heart. Only family could do that. Only forgiveness could. Only love strong enough to survive decades of separation could. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your loved ones, and leave a comment telling us which moment moved you the most. Your support helps Single Dad Empire continue bringing stories that remind us hope is never truly lost. Glowing star special request, comment, love always finds its way, if you believe family and forgiveness are stronger than time, distance, or even the darkest past. As the afternoon sun bathed the blooming cherry trees in golden light, Lucian gently looked down at the silver compass ring that had once symbolized a promise nearly forgotten by time. He finally understood its true meaning. It had never been about finding a place on a map. It had always been about finding the people who make life worth living. Sometimes destiny takes decades to complete its journey, but when love refuses to give up, even the most broken paths can lead a family back home.